r/askreddit. What do people think is a scam, but they actually just don't understand it? When I tell them they have a coupon for $50 off when they spend $100, and so far they've spent $60, so they can pick something else out that'll basically be free. There is a lot to be said for phrasing and delivery in customer service. Something I learned after many years in sales. If no one is having the desired reaction when you are saying something, just stop saying it and find another way to put it. It isn't worth finding out who is stupid and who isn't. They may be dumb for not understanding, but there is also a bit of stupidity in continually trying something that doesn't work and expecting different results. My grandma thought buying anything online was a scam for years. Amazon, Xbox store, ordering food, etc. She couldn't understand that you could actually buy stuff with your credit card without going to a physical place or saying it over the phone. Edit. She's fine with it now. The only thing she buys online is her medicine, but she has let me buy things using her card a few times when I was younger. I have friends in their mid-20s who still ask me how I can trust Amazon. This is the same as my Phil. He boasts regularly that he doesn't have internet banking and has never bought anything online. Then complains regularly that the bank is only open after work hours on Thursdays. Unemployment benefits. There are many that I've worked with that didn't understand that unemployment payments aren't handouts from the government. One employee who truly was let go for no reason other than downsizing just refused to take it no matter how much I tried to explain it to him. It was sad because he really needed it and just couldn't understand that the employer pays into the unemployment fund specifically for this kind of thing. It's the shame and stigma associated with unemployment. I've had to convince people that it's money you put into a system for just this reason. And even more people don't realize that you can collect unemployment benefits if you quit with good cause or were fired for something other than misconduct. It's not just for layoffs. Hello, we've been trying to reach you about an important safety recall notice for your vehicle. Something I learned when car shopping years ago. If you're worried there's been a recall on your vehicle, call your local dealership. They'll ask you for the VIN number. They'll be able to tell you right away if there's been a recall. Had a shifty salesman try to sell me a car with multiple recalls. He swore up and down that everything had been taken care of and nothing needed to be replaced. I called my dad to ask since we had a 10-week-old infant that would be riding in the car. He gave me the above advice. As it turned out, the car had 3 major recalls that hadn't been taken care of. They've been trying to get me to replace my airbag for 3 years. Maybe I should do that. Edit. Wow. So apparently it's not a scam to get me into the stealer. Made myself an appointment to go do that. Literally anything that requires a signature. Confirmation that they've seen their doctor's care plan and we've reviewed it with them. Refuse to sign. Financial form that will get them free medications that normally cost more than $1,000 a month. Refuse to sign. Form that allows us to provide them a nutritional supplement at no additional cost. Refuse to sign. Refusing a flu vaccine that could prevent them and the rest of the clinic from dying over the winter, and then also refusing to sign the form confirming that they've refused the vaccine. I had a friend who refused to sign her credit card because if it gets stolen, they'll be able to copy my signature. I tried to convince her that if it's not signed, they won't even have to try to copy it, they can just use their own. But she wouldn't believe me. People being paid for their time and knowledge. I hear if you loved animals more and weren't so greedy you would do this for free every day at my job. I would love to enter their office and demand their services for free. Just ask them if they want to pay your bills, expenses, and feed you, and your family if you have one. When the mechanic tells you that your brake pads are completely gone and says it's just bare metal to metal. The issue is that some mechanics will genuinely try to scam you. Brake pad gone? Better change the rear ones as well. Looks like the rotor's area worn out too. Have to change them. Oh no, your tires don't match the new brakes. It'll be much safer if you change them. And now the suspension needs realigning to compensate for all those changes. When people know nothing about cars, it's far too easy for mechanics to make shit up. My brake pad wear indicators were causing some squeezing recently. Took it to Nissan and they said I needed my brakes changed. If they left it at that, I probably would have told them to do it, but then they listed off that my fan belt and transmission fluid also needed changing. My car has 30,000 kilometers on it, so I became suspicious. I went home and checked the brake pads myself and they were over 50%. Fan belt was fine. Rotors were smooth. I own a business, and I sell a lot of surplus inventory on Craigslist, AfaRup, eBay. I try to get as close as possible to what I paid for it, so I can get my money back. Oftentimes, people don't have the money for a particular item, and I offer that they can leave me a deposit to hold it for them. $25, $50 depending on the item. Most items are $500, $1,000 range, just so I don't waste my time holding it. People always assume I'm trying to scam them, even though I write a receipt for them, take my ads down, etc. And I'm a reputable business. They are the ones that put me in this position by not having the money. Ask for larger deposit. For some reason people are more skeptical of a smaller, seemingly too good to be true deposit. I ask for 50%. Generic store brand versions of Tylenol, Aleve, etc. It's the same stuff, probably made in the same factory, just with a different label on it. Yet so many I know refuse to buy the generic store brand because it costs less, it can't work as well. Not only those, but many generic foods are made on the same lines as name brands. Breakfast cereals are a big example. I also can't for the life of me figure out why people buy name brands of common staples, eggs, salt, sugar, etc. My dad thought Steam was a shady company because $800 was taken off his credit card on a game. He later found out my brother took his card and was the one who spent all that money. My parents still think it's an illegitimate site no matter how many times I tell them that it basically has a complete monopoly on shopping for online gaming. Artists who want money for their work. Even for a friend relative. Doing a piece of art takes time, talent, and effort. Some people want a detailed piece of art that will take hours to complete, and want it for free. Even if you're a friend or family member, it's still a lot of time and work. Please pay artists for their work. I'm begging you. Getting a raise that gets you to a higher tax bracket. Seriously, people don't even use Google to verify it. When you get a raise, only the portion of the salary that goes above the bracket is getting the higher taxes. And you absolutely cannot convince them otherwise. They won't hear it. About a decade ago I worked as an auto detailer when I was trying to get my foot in the door, and the shop paid a flag rate. That meant that a job paid a fixed amount of hours no matter how long it took you to do it, thus rewarding expertise and efficiency. Like a detail job on a car could pay a flag rate of 3.2 hours, but if you were efficient and lucky it might only take 2 hours. Drawback is sometimes it takes 4, and still only pays 3.2. So better than average mechanics and detailers could easily get 12-14 hours in a 8-10 hours day. It wasn't uncommon to see 140 hours paychecks for 80-100 hours of work. But I still knew people who would never go above 80-100 hours flagged, because if I get more hours the government will just take more taxes out. Yeah, dumbos, but you'll also be taking home a fuckload more money at $16 HR. Oh man, great, I'm working an hour extra today. Gonna cost me thousands in taxes. Nobody believes that I am a Nigerian prince. I just want to end poverty by sharing my wealth. Preventive dental maintenance. I've lost count of the people who have proudly told me over the years that having your teeth cleaned by a hygienist is a scam and that plaque is not really a thing. I've also had a surprisingly large number of seemingly rational people tell me that dentists create holes in your teeth so they can scam you with fillings. The fact that I have had at least 2 dentists tell me I had cavities that follow-ups with other dentists couldn't find, and that one tried to upsell me on braces that I don't need makes me pretty wary too. Maybe I just have teeth that heal between visits, but I doubt it. Not tell dentists of course, but I've had some bad ones. I don't think the dentist is a scam, but I think a lot of dentists are scammers. Some old people still think stocks is a scam. Or any financial investment for that matter. Yes. I know an older person who is very proud to have pulled all her money out of mutual funds at a time when the market went down. She seems to have this idea that it all went down and never came back up. Internet connection speeds. They get 100 MB per second speeds and think it's 100 megabytes per second, not realizing it's only 12.5 megabytes per second. Then they claim they have slow speeds because they can't download this game in 4 seconds. It surprises me that internet speeds are allowed to be advertised in a measurement that nobody uses for actual file sizes. Seems to me it's just a way for ISPs to inflate their numbers and prey on people who don't know a great deal about bits and bytes. Vaccines. No, it's not a worldwide conspiracy by doctors to give every kid autism. It's to stop children from dying horrible deaths. It always confuses me the amount of people who are against chemicals being in anything. Sorry to tell you this, folks, but literally everything is chemicals. I was in line at the dollar store once and I picked up a cherry Pepsi. I drink a soda maybe once a month. Nothing against them. I just don't really like fizzy drinks as they give me heartburn. Occasionally I take the heartburn just to get the taste. Anyways, as I pick this thing up that is a special treat for me, this pretentious douchebag pipes up from behind me. He says something to the effect of, "I can't believe you would get that. Don't you realize how many chemicals are in Pepsi?" I was immediately pissed because this guy was acting like he was better than me. That is when I reached for my favorite way to shut someone up. I took it to an even more extreme place and said, "Yeah, I know there are a lot of chemicals, but after a night of shooting up heroin it is the only thing that will settle my stomach. For the record, I have never done heroin." The look on his face was priceless. He just kind of deflated, blushed and looked away while saying nervously, "Oh. Maybe try Tums." Legal services. The amount of people who try to save money doing it themselves often really screw things up. Yes, 200 plus per hour seems like a lot of money, but you gladly pay a surgeon to remove your appendix. Why not trust other properly vetted professionals to do it right the first time? Except I don't pay a surgeon, my insurance does. That's really the difference because you take legal fees to the teeth. Debit card authorizations. I work at a hotel and the amount of times we get screamed at because people don't understand how their debit card works is way too high. Problems with this are almost a daily occurrence. Most hotels do not charge you when you check in, they wait until you check out. However, they do authorize your card when you check in, and for all intents and purposes this is pretty much the same thing as a charge as far as you, the customer, is concerned. It's not exactly the same thing. The money doesn't officially come out of your account, and the hotel receive no money from the authorization, but it still means those funds are available to you until the authorization is released. Hotels have to do this. We can't just assume you have the money on your card to cover the amount of your stay. You're checking in now but leaving in 3 days. If we just trusted that everyone staying could pay in full at the end of their stay, then we'd have a lot of people who just disappeared at the end of their stay without paying. Nor can we check that your card has the money on it then just operate on the assumption that it will still have the money on it in 3 days when you check out. People could easily go spend all the money on their debit card and then in 3 days no longer have the funds to pay, even when they did at check-in. We have to put an authorization for the amount we expect you to owe at checkout. This effectively holds those funds aside so that when we're ready to charge you at checkout, the money is there. While the authorization is active, you can't use those funds. They're still in your account but can't be spent. This inevitably leads to people thinking we've taken money out of their account that we shouldn't have. People find their debit cards are declined elsewhere, then see the hotel authorization and think it's our fault, when in fact it's because they had just enough to cover the hotel expenses on the card, and we're holding those with an authorization. This happens in several places where you use your debit card. Even at gas pumps. When you swipe your card at a pump, it has no clue how much you're going to spend on gas. The gas station picks a number that it feels comfortable with, something a bit higher than what people normally spend on gas, and the pump will authorize your card for that amount. When you're done pumping, the final charge will go through. The only reason people notice this at hotels but not elsewhere is because of the length of time a hold may stay at a hotel. If you're staying a week, that authorization is made at check-in and remains on your account for that whole week until you check out. So pro tip, if you plan on paying a different way when you check out, go ahead and pay that way when you check in. Whatever card you provide at check-in will be authorized at that time, and as with anything else involving banks, It can take a few business days for an authorization to be released on your account. To expand, most hotels even over-authorize, something like $25 or 10% per day, so they know you are good for using things like the hotel bar or treats shop. So when your hotel bill after tax at checkout is like $292.67, but is over-authorized for $317.67, and you didn't spend any extra on amenities, that extra $25 often will take a couple of business days to drop off. A lot of guests, at my hotel at least, check out on a Sunday when the banks are closed, and get home, and see the authorization for $317, but the bill for $292, and they call back and flip their shit about it, saying we overcharged them, when in reality that difference will be released probably the next morning. Sometimes guests understand this on your first explanation. Sometimes you have to rely 5-10 times to finally drive the point home for them. Ugh, I hate to say this, but politics. There is so much more to it than corrupt politicians that get elected and don't fulfill their promises. You got to get in first, then figure out how to handle the needy masses. If you promise reasonably, you won't get elected. Overpromise, everyone hates you. You can't win. Holiday vacation insurance. Having previously traveled to USA, if anything went wrong where I needed medical assistance, I would be absolutely fucked without the insurance. Does that mean I don't need it if I'm traveling somewhere that has universal health care? I'm joking, but I'm not. Vaccines is the most popular one currently, also one of the more dangerous ones. Any game downloaded on a family computer, all a family member says is that it has viruses. Sorry that the laptop was already fucking slow, Linda. Bitcoin. Source, my ex in 2013. Can't believe I listened to her. Pension contributions. Diets. They do work. The reason they fail is because many people resume their pre-diet after gaining weight. Diets are forever. So find one you can live with for the rest of your life. The air in bag of chips. Or the amount of air in a car airbag. I opened mine to check and there's hardly any inside. Just folded material. Taxes. Socialism? I don't know if people think it's a scam exactly, but they definitely misunderstand it. Customer service rep trying to help out in a bro way because they take a general liking to you or empathize with your issue. Like, don't come back and demand my coworker or manager give you the same deal cause I basically broke company policy to benefit you. Customer service in general. Like, no, dude. I literally do not have a way of doing whatever it is you're demanding I do without rewriting the software. It's nothing against you. I genuinely do wish I could do more, but my hands are tied. Ugh. I get bro deals in town all the time at my regular spots, and one time this guy called out the dude at my burrito spot for giving me more stamps on my loyalty card than him. The collective groan that everyone let out was hilarious as he slowly stamped the guy's card one more time. When you're making a new account somewhere and it tell you to enter the email and a password for your account, some people think they're asking for the password to your email. Selling gold. People read the papers and see gold prices €45 per gram. Then they search all their gold and come to the store expecting €45 per gram for their 14 kilotons necklace. If they realize they get only €15, they think you are a scammer. And on that note, people also seem to think that jewelers change the diamonds for fakes. Which not one single goldsmith will do, because a brilliant actually costs them not that much. The time to replace it costs more effort than it's worth, even if it is a €20,000 brilliant. Also, they will never take the risk that a customer will have it tested by another jeweler and it turns out to be fake all of a sudden. If they realize they get only €15, they think you are a scammer. To be fair, we've also had companies advertising on TV that if you send them gold you'll get cash, and to follow your example they give you 5 if you're lucky, not 15.